For the past 6 to 10 months since the whole Vexo cheating scandal happened in the last World Series of Warzone, I've been doing nothing but training for Warzone this year. And this past weekend, the quals took place, which was literally the most miserable experience I've ever had playing this game in my entire life. I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, mean this, would rather get a prostate exam from Freddy fucking Krueger than play this game one more second. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you exactly why. A few nights ago, right after the quals, I found out that my team and I essentially just didn't make it past the TKR, which is the open qualifier portion where anybody around the world can try to go out for World Series in your respective regions. It's basically public matches that you play against anybody else within North America, Latin America. I want to say there's like Europe and then EMEA, which is basically the rest of the world, or something along those lines. My team and I unfortunately weren't able to make it past that round. And I can sit here and make up a number of excuses, but at the end of the day, I'm just going to tell you that we lost. There were professional teams, there were legit teams, people that I know, friends of mine in the community, who were able to make it past the TKR. My team was not one of those teams. We ended up finishing in 150th place. After the cheaters were removed, we're like in the low 140s. So at the end of the day, what I'm here to tell you guys was my experience, how I feel about the game, and how I think Warzone is on a downhill path if it's not already in the fucking gutter. Now in this next portion of the video, I'm going to show you a response that I had to one of my moderators who made a joke about me rage quitting the other night after I got killed by a cheater, after finding out that I lost the quals because of cheaters. And I'm basically gonna give you guys a full explanation of my experience in World Series of Warzone, as well as gonna be reacting to a couple of other streamers and friends in the community. So if you have any other questions, comments, leave them down below, and I will see you guys in a second. Bro, if I play with you, you'll rage quit on me so fast. Honestly, ATX, I need to justify myself, right? And I think you guys would understand. And actually, you know what, no, maybe this isn't even justification, but I'm gonna explain to you, like, I'm sorry, I'm not one of the streamers, I hate to say it, like, I'll let you guys know exactly how it is. Like, if I'm pissed off, if I'm uncomfortable, if I hate what I'm doing, I'm just gonna let you guys know. And that's more so on me to just stop doing what I'm doing. I'm gonna mute up for a second while I say this. All right, and this is the only time I'm gonna talk about this shit because it's been pissing me off. This past weekend, for the past 6 months, chat, I have been grinding my ass off to prepare for World Series of Warzone. That means I've been playing in as many customs as possible. I've been playing in as many tournaments, just in general. I've been working on my aim. I've been practicing, actually trying to get better, because that's the only thing that gives me joy in playing Call of Duty right now. This past weekend, I was fortunate enough to find a team, sort of at the last second, a team I have pretty good faith into. Actually, I like them a lot. Rudy and this other dude named Sunny. Both really good players, very talented. The past 3 days, when I was trying to go out for World Series of Warzone, chat, I'm not even exaggerating with you. Every fucking lobby was filled with cheaters. Every fucking lobby was filled with cheaters. I wasn't able to make it past the TKR calls. We finished 150th or like 147th. And the problem is that every decent game that we had, we got hacked on towards the end, so we couldn't get the placement that we wanted. Or occasionally we'll run into pros, or occasionally I'll take a lot of responsibility. I might have sold, I might have made some bad plays, some bad calls as an IGL, and I'll own up to that. But this entire weekend was riddled with cheaters to the point where every single advance, every single opportunity that we had, even with advanced UAVs, was just ruined. It was fucking ruined. This dog shit game by these fucking freaks at Activision, these greedy... the words that I want to say, I won't say it. So I'm not even going to go down that route. This game is a fucking joke. I pray on its downfall. I pray on the downfall of the fucking company. I'm fucking sick and tired of the bullshit that I put up with and playing it. But I play it because I know you guys like it. It's entertaining for you guys, and it's what I built my career on. So it's hard for me to just walk away now until I find the right avenue for myself. So at the end of the day, I didn't make it past the TKR to get into the qualifiers. I don't know how all of the other pro teams were able to do it. This isn't an accusation, but I genuinely just don't know what they did to get that far. And unfortunately, I just wasn't able to do that. So that's just the truth, chat. I wasn't able to make it past the TKR, and there are pro teams that were able to do that. So now that's sort of a reflection on whether or not it makes me capable of playing against them. But, you know, at the end of the day, I still feel like I'm one of the best IGLs in the world, one of the best players. And unfortunately, I'll never get to prove that because Warzone is on the cusp of death. They're going to bring out Blackout this next coming cycle. This will be probably the last World Series of Warzone, which means that there's nothing really to grind for anymore. So, I deleted my Twitter, like, I don't want to see anything. I don't want to talk to anybody about it. I don't even want to hear the word World Series. I don't want anything about competitive Warzone to come out. I don't care about it. I don't care about this fucking game. I don't care about the fucking company and the fucking shit developers and the fucking shit CEOs that put their their fucking greedy hands into the pockets of their fucking consumers and just exploit them for what was supposed to be a decent game. But at the end of the day, here I am playing it, you know, obviously just trying to be an entertainer. And then for me to go through all that and then die like I did yesterday to another fucking cheater, it's just like, this game is fucking pathetic. The people that play it, the people that cheat, the people that make it, the fucking community of so-called competitive players, that it's all fucking pathetic, and it's a waste of my time. So I think for myself, obviously this on one hand, you know, it's good because now I can just focus on content. But I genuinely believe, chat, that I got cheated out of what I feel like is an opportunity I 100% could have taken advantage of. If there's no cheaters, chat, I 100% believe I'm in the top 100. There's no doubt about it. You guys should have seen the shit that we had to deal with. Maybe like there were still some bad decisions, some fucked up shit that happened during the TKR, but at the end of the day, you know, like, what can I say? There were pro players that made it. There were really good teams that made it who were legit. I don't know how they did it, but, you know, they're hats off to them. They're really good players, and I wasn't able to do that. I wasn't able to get past the cheaters, and, you know, it just is what it is. So I feel like I got slighted with my opportunity to play a World Series or to at least compete for a spot on the team, but no matter what I say, it's always going to come off as, like, pity. No matter what I say, it's, oh, I'm always going to have the loser mentality because they were legit players that did it. And there's nothing else that I can, you know, there's just nothing else to talk about. Like, you know, it is what it is, you know. So fuck the game, fuck the company. I have no desire to play this shit anymore. I'm fucking miserable. So I'll probably do a lot more community nights to, I don't know. At this point, I'm literally just doing this for the community. I'm only playing this game for the community. I have no interest in doing anything else. I don't even want to play content. I don't even want to make content around this game. This game is fucking dog shit, but it is what it is, you know. Here we are, and I just kind of have to, like, suck it up. So, as far as, like, next steps, I don't have next steps, chat. I gotta be honest, I really don't. All I want to do is play competitive, and I had all my recording set up so that I could honestly start vlogging my experience playing in World Series, because all I care about is being competitive and playing competitively. And now that I can't, there's nothing else for me to do. Like, all of my content ideas I have some really good content actually ideas, but now that I can't play in World Series and I feel like the cheating has gotten at an all-time high, I don't even know, like, if it's worth it or whatever. So anyway, at this point, I'm not trying to vent, whatever. I'm over it. I'm still trying to get over it or whatever, but it just is what it is. So it'll eat at me for a little bit. I'll be fine. So excuse my attitude. But you guys asked me, or when ATX said I'm probably gonna rage quit. Like, you're right, bro. At this point, I probably fucking will before I break everything in my fucking room, bro. This game is just so fucking full of it, man. Full of shit. Everything about this game, dog. Everything. It's just so full of fucking shit. So I didn't stream the World Series of qualifiers because I knew exactly how I would feel, and I'm glad I didn't, because it would have been the worst streams you guys would have seen. And quite frankly, I'll be frank, I also said some shit that I wouldn't even want you guys to hear, and I wouldn't want to be out there on the internet, bro. I'm capable, but now I'll never really have, like, a legitimate shot. Like, once Warzone dies, this will be it. That's it. Warzone, it's the game is dead. Nobody cares about the game anymore. It's not entertaining anymore. The content is stale. Like, the developers just completely mismanaged the game, and I just don't give a fuck about it anymore. So, yeah, I just won't be playing in World Series. And, you know, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, I'm very big on taking responsibility for where I'm at in my life, for everything, literally everything, for where I'm at in my life. So, that could be my career. That could be, you know, my relationships with my family and my friends, and how I maintain those. That can be my YouTube channel, and that includes competitive COD. I want to say that I feel like I got slighted by the cheaters, but everybody had to deal with the cheaters, and there were teams that made it. And, you know, now all of that is so muddied in the water, I don't really get a full answer as to how good I really feel like I could be at Warzone, which was the only thing that gave me joy in playing this dog shit game now. But now that that's off the table, like I said, it just is what it is. You know, there's nothing I can say. There's no crying, there's no bitching, there's no moaning, there's no reporting, there's no asking for an extra spot. There's the chances that we get off of whatever the wait list, like, it's just very unrealistic, because everybody in the top 100 wasn't cheating. And yeah, so we finished 150th, and after they banned some of the cheaters, we're at like 147th, right? Which is, like, you know, I just like I said, there's just nothing I can do. So it just is what it is at this moment. Trying to get over it. I'll get over it eventually. Like, this is just part of the game, the life, whatever. So I'm just going to do the best that I can, and then lock in potentially for next year if I have the opportunity. But if I don't, it is what it is. I just keep it pushing and just moving on with my life. Maybe like find another avenue of content or whatever. But I'm not like super pressed to play again because it's whatever. So Carl Palmer, it's such a grown man response to take responsibility, even in situations you get slighted. My dad used to do this thing when I was a kid where, and I don't talk about my personal life a lot. I don't talk about anything personal, but I'll share this story because I think it's something of value that I can give to you guys outside of just gaming. But my dad used to do this thing where I would come to him sometimes with like situations or problems that I have in my life, or I'll give him like a scenario where I'm super upset because of something. It could really be anything, you know? And I'll never forget my dad, just like, it pisses me the fuck off because I might tell him like, Dad, there was this guy who tried to rob me on the street. And his response might be something along the lines of like, well, what did you do to antagonize him? And I'm like, Dad, what the fuck? Like, what are you talking about, bro? I might tell him like, Dad, you know, like I really think my teacher doesn't like dislikes me, or, you know, like my teacher just isn't fucking with me. He's not rocking with me, bro. He's not like letting me come in after hours. He's not, you know, giving me like the necessary tools to succeed. I think the coach just isn't fucking with me, Dad. You know, he's not giving me a lot of playing time. I don't give a chance to give my like fair shot. I think my friend, like my friends are just being like really mean to me for whatever reason. I don't know. I feel like we're like something odd or like anything. And my dad will always force me to take some level of accountability, even in the craziest situations, bro. I could tell my dad a meteor fell on my car and he was like, well, why'd you fucking park it right there, you know? And it's not like the most satisfying way of going about life, but it definitely gives me a little bit more peace with where you go for it. Like it gives me more peace with where I'm at the end of the day. And that's only a small part of it. Like there's a religious aspect and component. I don't think, you know, that story that I'm telling you about what my father did and how he kind of raised me, that's only just a small part of it, but I give him a lot of credit for that, and my mom too. So, and in either case, it just is what it is. So, my teammates and I didn't qualify, and for me to look down that list, and I this is me, you know, I have to say this with respect, right? Because at the end of the day, I didn't qualify, and there were teams that did. Hats off to them. I have to preface that before I say this next part. But there are teams that qualified that I know are going to go into the custom lobbies, and they're gonna get mopped. They won't drop 20 points. It's gonna be the most pathetic. Like they have no idea what they signed up for. It's gonna be so fucking pathetic. And for me to deal with that Vexo bullshit last year, maybe it's karma. I guess call it ironic karma because, you know, obviously I didn't know, right? Like obviously that situation that happened last year is just so fucking pathetic, and that Vexo's just a fucking bitch, right? Like he's just a dude that has nothing going for himself in life, so he thought playing video games and cheating at video games would give him some satisfaction. But in either case, you know, that's what happened, and for that to be full circle and me to feel like I didn't qual because of cheaters, but just very funny, very, very funny. So it is what it is. When I raged off stream yesterday, chat, it's because I died to a cheater. It's like I just spent the past 6 months training for a tournament where I got slighted by a bunch of cheaters, and we just couldn't get past them. We just couldn't, you know? And it was what it was. Like killing cheaters is very difficult. There are some cheaters who are actually really good too. Like they have good movement, they have good awareness too. There's literally a guy named No World Series of Warzone for You. That's his name. That was his name. And he was going around killing all the pros and shit like that. And there's like videos on Twitter circulating. So I mean, there's really just like at that moment, there's just nothing I could do, you know? It's one of those things where you just lose full and you kind of just like.
Ladies and gentlemen, this weekend was the $1 million World Series of Warzone Open qualifiers, and I got a chance to play it. And honestly, going into it, I had no idea what to expect. Last year's kill race was actually pretty cool. It was actually fun. So basically, you had about 7 hours each day to kill race. Top 100 teams out of like 3,000 move on.
Very important for you guys to know. Yes, so this time you only had 6 hours on Friday, 6 hours on Saturday, 6 hours on Sunday, to total to 18 hours to get the best games possible. But only your top 10 games count towards your total score. This will be important later.
We ended up qualifying. We only played one day and got like 50th or something like that. But there was one problem throughout the entire weekend that I noticed that I just don't truly understand is what's going on. Yeah, the background is it's $1 million tournament, right? $1 million open qualifier. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? Well, for the entire last 4 hours of our session, we were getting chased down by multiple teams of hackers named No World Series of Warzone for You.
Just got pre-fired.
I think he's shooting.
He's hacking.
Yeah, he's hacking. He's hacking.
Shooting my body hacking.
I know it lagged on that end, so I think it's because of his video, I died to that team or to that one player or a number of players named no qual for you, no Wasau for you, no World Series for you. And I want to say at least a dozen times between myself and all of my teammates on day 2 and day 3 alone.
It was actually hacking. And no top 100 for you. And let me tell you right now, I'm pretty sure that was probably one of the most embarrassing weekends of the state of Call of Duty of all time. $1 million tournament. I mean, the guys at Anti-Cheat gotta be working weekends. Yo, if there's $1 million open qualifier, you would think Activision or Ricochet would have a couple of guys stay over for the weekend. Have a couple of guys hang out for the weekend. And
you would think at the very fucking least, they would have closed qualifiers. Or at least you would have to put your ID, maybe a social security, maybe a PayPal, to enter into a tournament like this so people can't just make new accounts 24/7. Or at the very least, do you guys know that ranked playlist has stricter requirements to play in it than World Series of Warzone? A company that's putting up $1 million for people to compete for, and they don't have stricter requirements for this than to play for ranked? We move on.
Press a couple of buttons so the hackers don't run rampant. Well, ladies and gentlemen, they were running rampant. It was just embarrassing. We all know ranked is bad, but we figure at least for a $1 million tournament, what that would look like, and they just were just going absolutely crazy.
No top 100 for you, bro. Suck my dick.
Oh yeah, wait, that is him. Oh wait, hold on. Let me report him. Oh. I don't understand if they'll ever be able to get under control. Do they care? Does it matter? And to be honest, Dan, at this point, I'm starting to believe y'all's conspiracies. Y'all have these conspiracies that the Activision is probably paying the cheater companies or in cahoots with them. Shit, it wouldn't be out the realm. By the way they are moving.
I've said this hundreds and numerous times on my streams over the course of the past 3 years. I 100% believe Activision owns these companies like engine owning, or has like subsidiaries off of Activision where they create these cheats and they have some major profit behind them. I 100% believe it. There's no doubt about it in my mind. And I'm not even a conspiracy theorist, but this is just way too blatant.
Bro, the hackers in Warzone are moving viciously in Call of Duty. It's like an anime. You ban one hacker, 3 more spawn in. It don't even make sense. I don't understand it. And it's like, I don't understand it. It feels like we're fighting Hydra, bro. I feel like I'm Captain America fighting Hydra. When bro said, kill 1, 2 more spawn in, that's how I feel like, man. And who knows, I'm sure probably in the top 100 teams that actually qualified, I'm sure there's a couple hackers in there who are gonna start trying to hide their hacks. Aimbot, walls, all that type of stuff, man. So I'm curious to see how the regional closed qualifiers go. I have no idea how that's gonna be.
Typically what they'll end up doing is that at the end of the TKR, so past this weekend on Monday, they'll have administrators of the tournament go through the VODs, or at least go through the accounts of the people that qualified in the top 100. They'll go through their names, they'll check their Activision ID, look what their stats are, and then I think they'll do some internal check. I don't know what goes on behind it, but they'll end up doing that, and they end up removing the names of the people that they found that are blatantly cheating. But obviously there are players that always get through, because last year Vexo, Av, and Chef Gapparoni made it through. 3 hackers, all using soft aim wall hacks to win or try and get to land to some degree. And the problem is, what happens is that even if they don't make it, right? Because they probably won't. Hackers are dog shit. All hackers, people who are using wall hack, they don't have aim, they don't have game sense or movement, right? They're all really bad players. But what happens is they end up chalking the opportunities for other players. So last year, obviously, when I made that video, they chalked Skullface, Noobs, and I want to say Dongi, if I'm not mistaken, who were 3 of insane players. Players who are almost guaranteed a spot at LAN of how good they are. And they ended up chalking their spots. So the hackers that made it through this time, and I know there's going to be at least probably 5 with how bad the weekend was, the same thing is going to happen to some really good teams. But we're going to see we'll see in the next couple of weeks. Or you guys will. I won't be watching.
We might be cooked.
Gas is closing in.
Blatantly cheating. But I don't know. For me personally,
Look at that, man!
it really doesn't make any sense.
Oh my god, I don't want to play this anymore, man.
Maybe it's not the people who watch my videos, because a lot of you guys support me and you guys like me a lot and stuff like that, just like watching my content. But for the accusation community, right? They're so passionate about accusing streamers of cheating, right? I'm talking people who have been streaming for 5 or 6 years. People still make videos on that they're cheating in some sort of fashion.
Imagine using aimbot and shooting bodies.
The reason this player shot his body is because the community do not like cheating Warzone streamers.
But why?
Anybody who watches Call of Shame or Bad Boy Beeman, bro, you just go get a mental sanity check. I from the bottom of my heart, go find a therapist. Go find a woman to love. Go find Christ. From the bottom of my heart, I mean that, bro. If you guys still watch that type of content and eat it up, you have problems, genuine problems that nothing in the world can help you. Nothing in this world, at least.
Is that passion not as prevalent for the people who are actually hacking in the game, spin botting and hacking against streamers?
Warzone streamers are despised in the Call of Duty community.
It's so crazy. Like, I'll post a tweet talking about the hacking situation. 50% of the comments are blaming me for it. I don't even understand. How am I getting blamed for this? Like the way the community is split down the middle, it's like the energy is directed towards streamers who have been.
That girl you just saw, her name was Omit T. She made it to LAN last year. Really good player, legit too. She's had multiple PC checks, had multiple accusations. One of the best females who are playing Warzone to this day. And I don't think her team qualified. And she had like a pretty decent team too. A team that should have made the top 100.
Streaming. I've been playing Call of Duty for over a decade, right? And you know, if I get
oh my god, bro, that's the worst part. Hold on.
Streaming. I've been playing Call of Duty.
Ebates had mentioned this, bro. Imagine playing the TKR, getting hacked on, right? And in the middle of it, your account gets shadow banned. Which means if you're shadow banned, that means you have to make a new account. If you make a new account, you and your team start all the way from zero. If you only have 18 hours to get 10 games, each game takes about 25 to 30 minutes, and you have to, oh my. You guys see where I'm going with this. Proceed.
For over a decade, right? And you know, if I get spin botted, aimed, hacked on, all that type of stuff, I got guys tweeting me, yo, it's your fault, use better hacks. Or it's your fault that you promoted this culture. Or it's your fault. I'm like, bro, what are we talking about, yo? There's some things I can understand. There's some things I don't. So we have the mid-season update at the end of next week. Like I said, the cheating problem, I don't think will ever get solved. I think it's one of those things where maybe let me know in the comments, guys, have some of you guys strayed away from Call of Duty because of the situation? I'm almost positive if I queue into a game right now, I'll run into a cheater. Let's see this, hold on. I have to test this theory. If I queue into this game and I run into a cheater, 5,000 likes.
All right, I'm not about to watch this dude play a Rebirth Island game. There's another video I want you guys to watch. It's a friend of mine in the community. His name is Alex. His YouTube name, excuse me. His name is Astroboihero. One of the coolest guys in the community. Probably a Swiss Army knife when it comes to anything Warzone and like comp related. He's really good at 2v2s. Really good IQ. I think he can IGL. He's really good at fragging too. One of one of the better players in the community for sure. And I want to go ahead and take some time to watch this video. Let me see. Is there anything else? I think Swagg talks. I want it to be known before I start this video off that Astro has played, and I want to say every single World Series of Warzone, and he's qualified every single time. Like I said, probably one of the best players I know, really good. You'd want him on any team. You definitely want him on your squad. And I know that his team didn't qual by, it was a smaller margin than my team. I think they made it to like 120th or 130th, but yeah, we'll go ahead and watch this video because there's some things I want to comment on this too.
World Series of Warzone Open Qualifier was this weekend, and me and the boys were trying to compete for $1 million. Now, this is just the very beginning, but we started off on a hot streak. We were in the top 100, looking at number 70 on the leaderboard. We were feeling really good, and as day one ended, we thought we had everything figured out. But then, as day two entered and day three came along, we started running into hacker after hacker after hacker after hacker. Now, unfortunately for me and the boys, we were not able to qualify for the next round. Our chance at $1 million were cut short due to these hackers. I mean, it was so bad.
Astro, you're way too fucking nice, bro. The fact that he's smiling through this shit, beyond me.
Now, obviously, I know it's very early stages. This is open qualifiers. It's public lobbies. This is a TKR, and it just gets harder from here. Going into scrims, going into custom lobbies, it's only gonna get harder for everybody involved. I'm not here to make any excuses in saying that hackers weren't the only reason why, but it was very hard to ignore the fact of what was going on around me during the time of my experience with Wasau, and the hackers being so prevalent.
Astro is being very generous, and he's doing the same thing that I mentioned at the beginning of this video, the same thing that I mentioned in the middle, where in the last video you saw where I was explaining to you guys my mentality about rage quitting, and I'm gonna explain this to you right now. I lost. Astro lost. And as far as we're concerned, everybody in the top 100 dealt with the same issues that we dealt with. It doesn't make the complaint any less valid. And I want to put it in perspective for you. You have 18 hours. Each game takes about 25, let's just say 30 minutes, right? Round it up to make it even. So you can get 2 games in per hour, right? Which essentially means if you do 2 games per hour, you have 18 hours in total. 2 times 18 is 36. You have 36 games, which if you think about it, 36 games, full games to get the best score, your top 10 scores, right? So imagine this. We're on a pretty good streak. Me and you and whatever third that we have, just imagine this, right? We have at least 20 kills, right? We're going into the top 10, which means we get a 1.4, 1.6 multiplier, right? As long as you make it into the top 10, 1.8 multiplier for the top 5, and a 2x multiplier if you win the game. If you get 30 kills in a win, that's 60 points. You do that 10 times, you are guaranteed a spot. If you get 25 kills in a win, right? Assuming you get the win, you secure that victory, not a top 5, you get 50 points, excuse me. You do that 10 times, you're pretty much guaranteed a spot in the top 100, right? But imagine this. We get 20 kills, we're on really good pace. We're 20 minutes into the game, 15 minutes into the game, we're going towards end game, and you get killed by a cheater, you essentially wasted one entire game because that extra 30 to 40 points you get, that's not gonna cut it. That's okay to have as like one of those fallback games, right? As long as the rest of your games are really good. But imagine you only have 36 full games to play and almost half of those are ruined by cheaters, which means the other half of those 18 games that you get need to be near perfect scores. I'm not talking 40 points. I'm talking 50 points, 60 points. If you have a couple 70-point games, you're good to go. You're fine. You should be perfectly fine. But that's an assumption that you're not getting killed by cheaters, not running into other pro teams who are really good.
In the game today, especially with it being public lobbies, and there not being much you could do with these hackers, whether you're trying to avoid them, you just cut your losses and get into the next lobby. It was bad. But
You would not believe how many teams you have to do that against. Where you're in a pregame lobby, you spent 5 to 10 minutes just searching for a lobby, right? You're not even playing it. You get killed by a cheater in the pregame. Now you and your team have to make the decision. Do we roll the dice and go into another lobby where there's going to be more cheaters or other pros where you're going to be splitting kills? And at the end, both you and the pro team might have 10, 15 kills going into endgame. Is it even worth it to stay in that lobby? Hard decisions to make.
I wasn't the only one. So I'm going to show you guys a couple of clips from Wasau and everybody else's experience and what they had to share. So these first couple of clips are from a German streamer playing an EMEA. And these clips are just blatant 4K. I just thought an interesting added here at the end of his tweet was, but if you talk to admin, he's saying report him in game. As if reporting him in game is really going to do anything in the moment. It's going to save your points. It's going to give you a better chance. It's not going to do anything, unfortunately. I don't think this is a reflection on FACEIT. I just think it's a reflection on Activision, how they've always handled cheaters and hackers. There's not much anybody can really do besides hoping that the anti-cheat does its job. Moving over to another clip is Arium Gaming. He dies to a level 36 cheater named Symphony, blatantly aimbotting, and you just can't help but feel sorry for the guy who's just trying to have a good time and compete with his buddies.
Dude, what? I'm stuck, dude. How'd you get stuck in the doorway? I wasn't even there. Symphony. Oh, it's a cheater.
I love how like every single time people are like trying to report these hackers, right? Like, you're trying to report them for like something, right? Do something, Activision, right? These reports that you're sending through, it doesn't even matter because they can make a new account and they'll just come back and hack on you literally within 10-15 minutes. Absurd. Also, I know like what we're about to show, like this guy, Crafty C2X and HPOT and their third, these are really good players, by the way. Like probably some of the best fraggers you'll probably see. Like top 1% players. Players that will most likely in regular lobbies make it into the top 100.
Competitor and friend of mine, HPOT, is actually accusing somebody of running with a Warzone hacker, and you could tell the frustration, the anger that this causes when you just keep running into hacker after hacker.
There's fucking rage hacking, bro! Like, come on, man!
These next couple clips are from Faze, flanked, showing very blatant 4K cheating. I mean, it does not get more obvious.
Remember what I told you guys about being on pace for a really good game? I want you to know that this game they're probably like 15 minutes into this game. Flanked has 5 kills. He's playing with DJ Moss and JTech, and for those of you guys who know who they are, other World Series of Warzone pros, people who have made it to land before, really good players. Collectively, they probably have almost 20 kills by this point, if not more. And for him to die right here, assuming he doesn't have Gulag or Gulag's about to close and they're trying to regain, you have no idea what that does to you as a team. their teammates might be able to get to that car and run out and rotate out and maybe might be able to salvage their game, but these cheaters that are pushing them right now can absolutely chalk a good chunk of their time in one complete full game that they can get.
This than that. I don't think I need to say anything else. The video speaks for itself.
Doesn't he just?
I have to dip, bro.
Does he have an advance or no?
No.
How about just hop in the whip and slide, bro? Oh no, they're on our ass. He knows exactly where you are. He knows exactly where you are.
Oh, he's hacking his ass off.
Oh my God. I just watched him. He was just watching you the whole time.
Another clip is from Tiger Diesel. He's actually spectating a hacker, which I was unable to do because if we did run into a hacker, it was get out of there, cut your losses, and you hope you don't catch him in the next lobby.
Not even hiding it. Like,
Also, another thing to note, I was looking up on my boy too. Astro and his team, they were like top 70. I want to say leaving day 2, they were like top 70. They didn't fall out of contention until day 3, and day 2 was the worst day. I mean, so bad that take this however you guys want. I'm not complaining. It is what it is. My team and I finished day 1 at like 130th, so we were just outside of the top 100, but we were fine. We still had 2 more days to go. We still had some bad games. After day 2, we were in 212th place. There was not one game we damn near could finish completely. And they were actually doing pretty good, all things considered. I mean, my God, bro. Try and hide it. Try and hide it, bro.
crazy.
Try and hide it at the very least.
These last couple clips are from Irrational. Now, these cheaters are just taunting you at this point. They're having the names of no qual for you or no wasal for you. Basically just laughing in your face, ruining your time, ruining your chances of trying to qualify and get $1 million. And these guys must not have anything better.
I would love to know, by the way, and I don't want to keep interrupting because I want you guys to watch this in full, but what would you recommend? Like, as a viewer, as someone who commentates and watches my videos, if you watch competitive Call of Duty at all, what would you recommend, right? Assuming quitting is out of the equation, what would be your strategy to get past these cheaters, to get the best points possible, right? Without wasting as much time as possible. What would you, I would love to hear in the comments, please. I'm begging you, because I'm going over my own VOD. I'm going over my own videos that I was recording with my team, and it was not even worth posting. But what would you guys recommend as a strategy if you're VOD reviewing and trying to make sure that you guys can make it past these cheaters? What would you guys do?
To do than to ruin your time in Wasau.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Help me out.
Fun. Back up there.
So the hacking situation is really bad, and the evidence is right here for yourself. This was only a minute stuff that I could find just off my brief surfing on Twitter, on X. If you really want to see a lot more, there's a Discord for Wasau that you can join. You can see all the evidence that people are placing in there. And Repulse did a thorough search of people as well, and having people send in evidence for him so they could go over and review it themselves. So then
I've talked about this before. Repulse is a godsend. Repulse, honestly, in my opinion, is probably the only reason that Call of Duty has, Warzone even has some semblance of a competitive component to it. Not multiplayer, competitive Warzone. A big part of that is because of Repulse, bro. So I don't think he gets anywhere near as much credit as he should. Well, maybe, I guess he does, because his streams are successful and his content is successful. So, but yeah.
And that they
huge shout out to you, Repulse.
They could go to support and maybe take care of these people themselves. What's unfortunate about this whole situation is that we even have to go to that point of people in the community actually trying to do their part, make sure that this game is done right and making sure that there's competitive integrity in this scene. But with all that being said, I just want to congratulate the 100 teams that did make it. I know how hard it is. Good luck to you guys the rest of the way. It just gets harder from here. Make sure you guys are running in your scrims, doing your VOD review, and all that good stuff. Now, I know that we were just touching on competitive integrity and support in the game. There were a couple things that were a little eye-catching to me. First and foremost was Royalized team. For some reason, they were taken off the NA leaderboards when they were 30th, with the only explanation of being that they weren't in their area of competition, meaning that somebody there wasn't from NA. I don't know why they would do that, or anybody would put.
Okay, that's a little odd. My teammate had the same thing. All right, so one of my teammates, Sonny, he lives on the border of California and Mexico. He had an issue like that, but he was able to get it resolved. So typically when you get it resolved on the Faceit website, which is where you sign up for World Series of Warzone, they'll have some sort of verification process for your address. he was able to get that resolved. For them to be able to be in the top 100 and then get removed because of, I guess now they're figuring out that he's not in the right region. I haven't heard of this before. That's pretty wild considering they usually do a check beforehand. Like, you shouldn't even be able to sign up for the tournament, much less get removed after you qualified. Yeah, that's...
Put themselves susceptible of not being able to compete just because they weren't in that region. I'm sure Royal Eyes and I think his teammate was Clutch Bulk are smart enough to understand that they might get caught in that situation. It wouldn't be a good idea. There are plenty of good players that I'm sure that they could have picked up. I doubt that they would have to go pick up somebody who wasn't in their region. It's interesting to just kind of think about, though, of the support that's put here, right? And these messages that you see, it doesn't really seem to be a whole lot of fairness here. I don't know exactly what was going on. The lack of professionalism and clarity is rather dumbfounding. I don't know why you would the need to do this to anybody or any team. Now, something I find that's very laughable is Slacken, somebody who qualified at number 28, who I believe has yet to be taken off the leaderboard, has actually come out in a cheating Discord promoting his cheats, is what it seems.
Slacken finished at 28th. Jesus, brother. If I'm not mistaken, I think I saw his name. What did he finish at? What was that name? Slacken. In 28th place? Is he still on there? No, hold on. I looked in the wrong section. He's in 26th place, but he has a little alert next to his name. This is the website that you can use. He only had a... Bro was cheating and he only had a 4? Only a 4? He's fucking trash. My God. I have that without cheating. I have a fucking 5, 6. I don't know who these teammates are. But if he's cheating, then most likely they are too. Especially that high. Like all these first places. I mean, maybe they're the best in the world. Maybe they're the best in the world. I don't know. Maybe they are. I don't know. He's suspected cheater, but they haven't been removed yet. So they'll be moving on if he's not confirmed of cheating.
Seems like he is saying, come get the best cheat market in the game, and flexing the fact that they had the #1 placement throughout the whole entire weekend. Now, as you can see down low, you can see his placement and his stats. And actually, funny enough, in my second clip at the very beginning, I don't know if you guys noticed, I died to one of his teammates, Maximus. And just in case you missed it, let's run it back one more time.
Careful.
Oh my God, bro.
I'll be back on this. Let him win his go.
Nah, I think these guys are weird, bro. Another thing that I found incredibly interesting was _ChaseA1 said cheaters are creating Wassail lobbies with genuine AI and farming them. We popped up in advance after this with 140 people and only 5 showed up. This is actually kind of crazy. I don't know how true it is. I don't know if it's clickbaiting or farming for engagement, but this was actually super crazy if it is true. I would love to, for anybody who had seen this or knows more about it, to comment down below, because I would love to see more about this one. Another thing that I thought was kind of funny and just a little sad as well is that in the calling cards right here, you can see that for the World Series of Warzone, they actually used the same asset that they did for another calling card earlier in the year. It just kind of shows me how much effort and attention that Activision or Call of Duty or Treyarch or whoever's running the show is putting into this whole thing. You know, if they're not putting too much effort into it and they don't put too much care in the background and the support, is ultimately what you're going to kind of get in the end result. It is something that I think is a symbol of how the whole event kind of turned out to be. Last but not least, but I have a tweet from Repulse saying this is probably the worst we've ever had for quals. The amount of cheaters teaming we saw was insane. Next year, I really hope we reevaluate and do custom quals with the mandatory streams and face cams. Comp scene is never going to grow unless these types of changes. And that is ultimately what pushed me to kind of make a video like this. Yes, I didn't qual. Yes, I may have lost my chance out for $1 million. Ultimately, I'm not all that upset about that. One thing that does kind of break my heart is the lack of competitive integrity and the ultimate support that we're getting in the background from Call of Duty. I don't know exactly what they're expecting from this esport. If they really want it to grow, they should definitely start thinking about making changes, and not even just in the competitive sense. For starters, it would just be great to see a good change in Ricochet coming up soon here in the next couple of years. I do not know how much more this game can take along the road if they wanted to survive just in general and not just in an esport fashion. Now, going over to the esport side of things, I think that Repulse hit it right on the button right there. I think we need to see more custom quals. We need to step away from the publics. It's just, if you're not going to fix your anti-cheat, at least move it over to where in the custom quals they have to show identification who they are, and maybe even
There's the problem is that there's like over 2,000 or 3,000 teams that are trying to go out for the custom quals, bro. So I don't know how feasible that is to have closed qualifiers for 2,000 or 3,000 teams. I mean, they did it for EWC, and that was relatively organized. I'll give them credit on EWC's part, but I just don't know how feasible that is. So yeah, I don't know. That's just gonna be yet to be seen. But I think this is everything that Astro was gonna say. So overall, I mean, Astro pretty much hit a lot of this right on the head, and he provided a lot of content too, and like kind of proof of the things that everybody was going through. But I'm gonna round out this video by saying this: at the end of the day, I'm not coming off, I don't want to come off as the person who was bitter because he wasn't good enough to qual past a TKR. I've done extremely well for myself in terms of customs. I'm passionate about playing competitively. That's not even just from a COD standpoint, every game. And I thought that genuinely my team and I had the chance to make it to LAN and compete for the $1 million prize. But at the end of the day, this is where the game is. This is the state of it. I'm not the only one that feels that way. And even if I did feel like I got slighted, I don't want it to come off as me being the greedy, you know, just the greedy, jaded person who feels like I got slighted when everybody else had to go through the same thing. Bottom line is we all lost, right? It is what it is. I lost, Astro lost. So hats off to the competitors that made it into the next top 100 and are going into customs. I wish you all the best of luck. And I really do mean that. And a couple of other things that I do want to note. Warzone didn't ruin my life. I'm fine. It's a video game at the end of the day. I have a great community. I have a great gig playing video games for a living. I make decent money doing it, which, you know, at the end of the day, right, I'm living a little kid's dream. If I'm ever really having trouble with the game, if I'm ever really having any mental issues that I feel like, yo, I can't get past this and the game is bothering me that much, it hasn't come to that, I just turn off my PC and I walk outside and I smell the roses for a second and I realize it's, you know, it is what it is, right? I'm not putting any slight towards my teammates, Rudy and Sunny. Rudy did significantly better than me, to be honest with you, when it came to the TKR. I made my mistakes, and as an IGL, you just got to own up to it, and it is what it is. But we just didn't get the chance to see our full potential and realize that, and we won't get the chance to see that. And I truly believe it was because of Activision's negligence. But you know, hundreds of other people ran into the same problem, and hundreds of other people were able to make it past that. So I lost fair and square. Legit players, hats off to you guys. And for those of you guys who are saying that it's just a video game, really important to note this. For those of you guys that are saying it's just a video game, right? Why are you making an entire video dedicated to this? I want to put something into perspective. Imagine you're applying to med school and you don't get in, right? Let's just say you tried for 4 years, for 6 years through undergrad, you're studying really hard and you don't get into med school. You don't just say it's just a job, right? It's just a career. You can find a different one. Imagine you are a big fan of the NBA, right? And a basketball player who's been training their entire lives gets to the championship, Tyrese Halliburton, and you get injured. You don't go up to him and say, it's just a game, right? At the end of the day, because you worked your entire life for something. And at the end of the day, a lot of my effort goes into my content creation and streaming. I still put a lot of effort into the competitive side of Warzone. So it's pretty reductive to say something as simple as that. And I get comments like that all the time. So regardless how you feel about it, right? I've been training for literally the past 3-4 years since my first taste of competitive Warzone to get to this point. And for me to not be able to have that, I just have to take the ownership and say, I wasn't good enough. Hats off. Really important. And the last note I want to state before I end this video is a lot of people who are asking me, why do I still play the game? I just haven't found the next thing for me. Warzone and Call of Duty as a whole, it's just too easy for content to just put out there and for me to switch sides completely. I've already talked about this numerous times, but it doesn't make sense to do that financially. Even in terms of like my interest, right? I gotta just find another game that I like, and I have to find something that my community likes as well. Because at the end of the day, the fact that you are still watching this video, or for those of you that have made it this far, means the world to me, and that's the only thing that's genuinely keeping me in business. If I didn't have you here, I would not be making content. I wouldn't have this microphone. I wouldn't have that plaque behind me. I wouldn't have that LED sign. And you know, at the end of the day, all I have is you guys to thank for that, right? So much love. Same shit as usual, guys. Probably be back streaming at some point in the next day or two. I'm gonna have another community night from now on. I'm really just gonna focus on playing with my community, making sure that you guys are having a good time watching. I'm having a good time playing with you guys. And if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, man, if you guys have anything to add, make sure to leave them in the comments. Huge shout out to Astroboy. I'll also leave his YouTube channel down in the comments below. Good friend of mine. I really like him a lot, man. One of the most genuine dudes you guys will meet too. So much love, peace, blessings. I'll let you guys later.